Hello Steelers and welcome to another hobby update, another bench report. The week before last I was struggling a bit with painting and I didn't get a huge amount painted. However, this week I sat down, I pulled my socks up and I got on with doing a bit more painting. And I finished off the 2nd Battalion of the 2nd Guards, the Coldstream Guards in fact. These are the 15mm figures from Warlord. Again, I just wanted to do a slightly different unit to what I've got before. These guys are wearing white trousers, so I thought they'd stand out nicely on the tabletop compared to the other redcoats in grey trousers. Just trying to make the British Army look a little bit more colourful than just having all red and grey, basically. I'm glad I finished these off because, as I mentioned before, I was kind of struggling a little bit just with a bit of hobby funk. It always happens, we always get it, especially this time of year where, you know, it's dark and it's rainy and you kind of just want to really just sit on the sofa watching traitors rather than actually painting anything. And I said it before, you know, it's a hobby, it's not a job, you know, just do what you enjoy. And that's basically what I thought about. I kind of, you know, it got me back into painting again and just enjoying the actual process of doing it. So off the back of that, what I did was I pulled out all the extra Royal Foot Artillery guns that I've got kicking about in the British box. There was 4 of these, including one howitzer, 5.5-inch howitzer. The others are all 9-pounder guns, field guns. And I thought, right, I'm just going to paint those. I'm going to paint them as a block, and then they are done and they are finished. And I've got, you know, I don't have to mess about with those either. So that's those finished. I now still have just 3 battalions of British left. I've got a light battalion as well. No, sorry, the Peninsular British, which I'm going to do as, I think it's the, off the top of me, I think it might be the 28th or the 70th. I can't remember the actual battalion number. But I'm going to paint those with their stovepipe shakos, and then that should be that box pretty much finished off, I think. The other thing that I got, I didn't actually talk about it when I went to Vapn Attack. The only thing I bought was a bit of paint and some double 7mm dice holders. These came from Pendraken. The reason I got them is because I've got loads of dice holders, but they're only single ones. And I found when I was playing General D'Armée that I really needed, you know, a couple ones with double on them rather than a single dice, because you need some of the units take up to 12 hits, for example. Well, most units take up to 12 hits, so you show that with 2 dice. And the dice holders I got were just slightly too big when pushed together, so I just bought a few packs of these. You know, they're about £1.50 a pack, cheap as chips. I also got from eBay, I think it's 3D Fluid or Fluid 3D. They do MDF things. I just bought a couple of their very small bases, just big enough to mount these on. Painted them, well, sprayed them, glued them together with PVA, sprayed them with brown paint, and then also just flocked them, and they were done. Now they're ready for anything, and I can use those. So I can use them in 1,000 different games, really. It doesn't have to just be GDA 2, but that just kind of brought home to me the need for double dice holders. So that's what I did. That's the other thing. That was dead easy. I've had nothing in the post, but last weekend my wife and I just popped over to Sheffield just to go and have drop some stuff off, pick some stuff up, and whilst we were there we called into Waterstones. She was after some books of a series that she's reading. Picked up this, Judge Dredd, A Better World. I thought, I've not read this one, it's a relatively modern Judge Dredd tale. I thought it was very interesting. It's very good, lovely artwork as always. I like these little books because it means I don't have to keep buying 2000 AD, but I can just dip into a Judge Dredd story when I feel like it, and I felt like it, so I got that. I also bought as well Romania 1944 from Osprey. It's one of their campaign series. It's number 404 in fact. Covers the Romanians in 1944 when they switched from being an Axis power over to the Allied powers, and basically, you know, the last bits of the fighting in that area of Europe, southeast Europe, basically. And as always with Osprey, I mean, these are pretty good introductions to, you know, the campaigns and things, so this will be very useful. I was looking at it really for scenarios and things, and one of the things that really jumped out, and I spoke to Dex about this and he said the same thing, we were both thinking on the same page, is this plate here of this Luftwaffe field unit being ambushed just on the edge of Bucharest. You can actually find this road on Google Maps. I did near the Triumphal Arch on the way into Bucharest, and I thought that would be a really interesting little chain of command scenario to do. Romanians versus Germans, and not just Germans, but Luftwaffe field unit, an ad hoc field unit with a bunch of different weapons and things. Just thought that might be a very interesting little scenario. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. Maybe pick up some Luftwaffe field units. I know Dex has already got some, but I always like to have my own. But a platoon, an extra little platoon of Germans isn't going to hurt anybody, I don't think. So that was just an interesting little thing there out of that book. Meanwhile, this week I didn't go down to the club. I was going to go down with Dean, but he called off at the last minute because he'd got a migraine, so he basically sat it out, decided he didn't want to go out. We were going to play Memoir 44, so we didn't, unfortunately, because neither of us have played it for years. But I was actually able last week, I'd mentioned it the week before, that I was able to actually turn my attention back to Through the Mud and the Blood. I was going to do it at the end of my week off, but in fact I actually set it up and recorded it last Friday because I had a bit of free time, and it was part of the it's now a Verdun trilogy. This one is basically a platoon attack, German platoon attack on a French machine gun position, supported by a French scratch platoon as well. So I just thought I'll do that as a video, put that together. That was edited down this week, so that's ready to go pretty much at some point in future. But I'm going to save it until the other Verdun videos come out at some point in future. And as always, Through the Mud and the Blood, great game, really enjoyed playing it. Then my wife and I also played Katmai, which is the board game that Osprey had sent me as a review copy a few weeks ago. It was our first chance of playing it. Very nice, light, fun game. Basically, you play cards to dominate areas of the river and then catch salmon and then score points for those salmon. It's a very simple game. A good one for kids, actually, because it is, it's got lots of bears in it and stuff, and it's very simple and easy to run through. We'd not played it before. We played it within an hour, and that was including learning the game as well. Got a couple of things wrong, as you always do when you first play any game, but that's part of the learning curve. So we might play that again over this weekend at some point, who knows. And then finally, really just to wrap up here today, is I'm recording this on Friday morning. On Friday afternoon, I'm going to be recording a session with Rich from Two Fat Lardies, and we're going to be talking about all things Chain of Command 2 and what to expect and how the rules developed, the background of the rules, why it was needed, all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to get that together. That will be a video which I will put out hopefully, fingers crossed as it goes, if everything records, SteamYards records and everything. This is going to be coming out on Monday, for Patreons and for channel members, so that'll be an early access for people, and then I'll put it out publicly on Friday evening, so something to look forward to. And as I say, we've got a lot to discuss, I think, so it's going to be quite an interesting one, and I'm quite interested to hear what Rich has got to say about stuff, having been part of the playtesting for about a year, I think, at this point. So it's been nice to have been involved in that, and it'll be nice to hear from his point of view just where the rules have kind of evolved to and where they've gone to. So something to look forward to there, I think. Right, that's about it. As I say, there's not much else to tell you this week. I will carry on. I'm currently painting some German Stosstruppen for First World War, just a bit of a palette cleanser from the never-ending blue and greys, blue and red, should I say. So I'm just going to be working on those. They'll probably be featuring in next week's video, and I'll leave it to that. As always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit that like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next Storm of Steel video.